Run! Get out of here!
Did you think it would be that easy?
My Adventures with Superman Season 2 premieres May 25th from midnight to 1 a.m. on Toonami. Next day on Max.
I'm not alone?
Heroes Unite.
Hey everyone, it is Neil from Neil Reviews, and today I have my girlfriend Coletta here with me. We are going to talk about the TV show My Adventures with Superman. I did not cover the first season when that came out last year, so we're just going to do like a quick recap of season 1, and then we can get to season 2.
Right. And I think you have a little bit more knowledge with the comic books and stuff. I know a general idea, more of a casual viewer, so you probably have maybe a little bit more on that comic book side of things.
I like Superman a lot, and I like the show My Adventures with Superman for the most part. I think it's just because it has that kind of more lighthearted tone that we needed from a Superman show. I'm not like a Man of Steel hater, but I think after Man of Steel and like the very dour DCEU, it was just nice to have a more lighthearted take on Superman again.
Right, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I know you are a fan of like, you watched a lot of like DC animated shows.
Some of the
all
stuff
that.
from the 90s, the typical like Batman, Justice League, some of the Marvel stuff. So I have kind of a casual viewing of that. Teen Titans, the OG one. So I kind of have an idea of like a good chunk of like the heroes and villains that show up in there. Some of the more obscure ones kind of I'm lost on a little bit, but I was aware of some of the side ones that showed up in this show.
Yeah, I know shows like, I remember Justice League Unlimited being like a really good introduction to just like DC in general, because it was just throwing in all these characters that as a kid I never heard of, and now it's like I'm familiar with most of them. But anyway, My Adventures with Superman. Season 1, like I said, I didn't do a video on it. I thought it was pretty fun. I don't remember too much what happened in the first season. How about you?
Yeah, it was, I think, your typical, just, we're going to lay out the origin story, but kind of zoom past it, because we've seen these sort of plot beats where he grew up on the farm, speaking to his dad through the big crystal thing, like you were finding out that he's an alien.
Yeah, it was kind of like a new take on it though, right? Because it was...
I think so, because he was speaking it basically in a foreign language that he couldn't understand because he grew up with just English in the middle of rural America.
I guess like aesthetically speaking though, the show feels different from any other iteration of Superman, because it's very much going for that like anime style, which for me is very hit or miss. I think some shows that do that I really like. Some shows I feel like they're trying too hard. This show, it's kind of in the middle for me.
I think, especially in the first season, I think it did pretty well. I really liked the designs of our main cast with Superman, Lois, and Jimmy, even. I thought they were all pretty good. They matched that aesthetic. Some of the villains kind of hit or miss, especially in season 2. I didn't really think it worked with the aesthetic.
Yeah, I guess we can go on to season 2. That's what people are just seeing.
Mainly for it. I think that's pretty much all we got to say with season 1.
It was pretty good. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I was like, yeah, it's fine. Season 2, what do you think of season 2? I guess, should we cover kind of what happens in the season, or?
Probably. There was a lot of the issues that we had with season 1, with a lot of the misunderstandings coming up.
Yeah, like the first half of season 2 is a lot of those misunderstandings. And I know a lot of people I've seen online where people will like say this show sucks because of these reasons. And I do think that having like romantic drama in a show, especially a Superman show, makes a lot of sense. And I wish I could like defend a lot of it, but in my opinion, a lot of it was just poorly done. Like there's too many cliches and tropes that I'd seen done before in millions of other shows, and I don't think they did as well as they could have with some of the romantic subplots.
I also agree with that. It just seems like if the characters could just have a second where they could just talk through it like a normal couple, it would just be fine. If your plots are just hanging on the fact that they keep getting constantly split up, where they can't talk to each other, or they just for some reason think, oh, I shouldn't tell my significant other this important thing that's happening.
They have like that moment where Lois is talking to her dad, and she says something like, that Superman, he doesn't belong on Earth, and then pauses her sentence, and then Superman flies away sad. And then she goes, and that's why I love him. It's like...
It's the worst trope ever that happens.
Was there anything about the first 4 or 5 episodes that you really liked? I think we liked. There was that running gag with Jimmy where his like net worth keeps going down.
They bring it up. I think I can't remember. It was the first episode into the second, and all of a sudden you just start seeing it go down. And you're like, oh no, this is going to be a thing. I think that was a pretty funny gag. It was nice to see a couple of the characters that returned back. The Brain and I think his name was Mala, the gorilla.
Yeah, was that episode, were they in the first half or did they not show up till later?
You know, I don't think they showed up until like episode 7. It was the Olsen's 11 one, I think.
Well, I think that's
right when they were going to steal the ship.
For me, that's when the season started getting a bit better, when it...
Yeah, the first...
Unfortunately, it's when it moved away from the romance and put more focus on just like kind of more traditional comic book sci-fi storytelling.
All the action. Because a lot of the drama that was getting built up where they're trying to hide Lois's dad from the agency. I don't know if they're like the CIA.
I don't remember what they're called. Amanda Waller's.
The Waller's organization. The kind of the drama behind that, and sort of this kind of feeling like there's a ticking time bomb with like things going to blow up with the characters. Now, of course, that's when it leads into the second half of the action.
That reminds me, I think one of the episodes I did like early on, I think it's the same episode where there's that misunderstanding between Lois and Clark, but the one where it's just kind of explores more of Lois's relationship with her dad, I like that. I like little character stuff like that, you know, any other iteration of Superman, it's like, I don't give a shit about Lois's dad, but like here I think they did a good job at kind of explaining who he is and why he is that way.
I think so. I think that the conflict with their relationship makes a lot more sense than with Superman and Lois.
Yeah, because that's like an actual
especially
family relationship. It's not like a couple who's always don't even listen to each other over anything.
Same with what you brought up, the thing with the line pause, where even the one where they had to act like Superman didn't know who Lois was. She even told him, like, we can't act like we're in a relationship because the one news lady is really good at picking up on this stuff, and they're at like a big bachelor show type thing.
Like the bachelor ball or something
like that. And he's trying to act like he doesn't know her, and she's getting really jealous, and it's like, that's what you told him to do.
Yeah. Well, that episode, I did like the subplot of that episode, or the B-plot, where it's...
That's true. That's with Jimmy and Cara,
I guess technically, would that be the B-plot? Because it's kind of more essential to the story than the Bachelor stuff going on.
That's true.
I don't know.
Either way.
But yeah, there's like a romance between Cara, who is Supergirl, and Jimmy Olsen. And at first, well, I guess we're going to spoilers anyway, so... But it's kind of revealed as the show goes on that she's under the control of Brainiac, who's the main villain of this season, and he's kind of he's brainwashed her both. He's both actually convinced her of a lot of things, but also he's literally using mind control at times. So it's a bit of both. But yeah, the twist is that she's evil. I don't remember, why did she come to Earth? Was it to kill Clark, or what was her? Besides taking over Earth or whatever, or destroying it, like
well, it was partly because she was brainwashed, but she also, I think, reached out because she thought there's another one like me out there.
Yeah.
And to bring him back, but she didn't understand why she was going against, or he was going against what she was trying to fight for. And it slowly, you start realizing how much she had a lot of mind control and other things going on with.
We both thought. I blame myself because like Brainiac has that like iconic like little symbol.
Oh yeah.
And for some reason I just didn't put that together. So I was thinking the villain was Zod. It just made more sense to me.
I thought that it was either Zod was behind the mask, or even throughout the rest of the season I thought that the season finale we were going to get a reveal that Zod was somehow in control of Brainiac. Or maybe that's just my
It took a while
thoughts
before I was like, wait a minute, is that Brainiac? Like, because it's such a different take, which I haven't talked about that really. This show, every time it does villains, it does a very different new take on them. Sometimes it works. I did like Brainiac a lot in the season. I thought he was very like menacing. They picked a good voice actor. I don't know who voiced him.
Yeah, I did love his voice. It's just very unhinged all the time.
But then you had like this season introduces Lex Luthor.
And Slade.
It's like one of the lamest versions of Lex Luthor I've seen, which I knew that he was gonna look like Scott LaWaz, and I was like, yeah, you know, maybe they can work with that. They can do something interesting with it, but they really do not.
Yeah, it's same with Slade. Maybe he'll get a chance if they do a season 3.
They do kind of tease at the end there that Lex Luthor and Slade are more than likely one of the main antagonists in the next season.
Yeah, there's a good chance they'll come back in season 3 if there's another one. I think Slade may have potential. It's hard to say because he's kind of in the background for the most part this season.
I don't really like that take on him, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
I'm giving a bit more leeway, but I'm also spoiled from the Ron Perlman version in the Teen Titans, so that's my go-to.
is the definitive version. Like, even as a comic book fan, it's like that Teen Titans cartoon had the definitive version of that character. Like, nothing has come close since then. But I guess just like I'm completely open to new takes on characters. I'm nothing against that. It's just you have to do something interesting, you know, that makes me want to change my mind to be like, okay, I'm on board with this new take. But I feel like I didn't get much of that with this season.
I think so too. Is there anything else that we missed?
Well, you know what I didn't mention is my tangent about Lex Luthor.
Because, go right ahead. I will let you.
Lex Luthor, I hate what they do with his character just because they do that thing where they try to write him as smarter than everyone else, but it's clear that like the writers aren't that smart about it. So all of the points he makes for why Superman is bad are like points that anyone would already have thought of at some point, like in their life. He's like, Superman is bad because he's powerful, and what if he changes his mind one day? And everyone's like, yeah, he's right. Which is like, yeah, people like that would exist. But
it's the equivalent of some Twitter comment, just like, but what if bad?
Yeah, like he wasn't making any points that weren't just like obvious points that anyone would have already put together. But yeah, I did like that second half a bit more. It's more action orientated.
I think so too. I think it's still a really good show if you give it a shot. We spoil a lot right off the bat, but
yeah, this is more. I guess we are doing recommendations, but I kind of assume people watching this will have already watched it. I would still recommend this show. Season 2 it isn't like high praise for me. Like I've seen other shows I like more.
The problem I have with season 2, although I really liked the action in the second half, is it has a lot of the same problems that I had with the first season. With them the conflict feels a bit too hand-fisted.
Yeah.
Where they were trying to like put in this unnecessary drama where there really doesn't need to be any, or you could write something a little better.
Yeah, it's not that they don't need drama. I think that stuff's important to a show like this, where you're doing like a young Superman. But it's more just, it could have been written better. I know that it's easy to say something could have been written better as opposed to actually writing it, but like, I've seen shows that handle the same kind of tropes and stories significantly better than I thought this did.
Yeah, I think so too. It would also be nice to just see some more side stories, although that's kind of hard to do with 10 episodes a season, I'll give them that. Though it was nice to see Mxyzptlk, I think was the guy's name in season 1. He just kind of shows up for briefly. It did still end up tying to the plot, so they were able to make it to work.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be nice if they are able to find these ways to put in these one-offs.
They had little hints and stuff at like other DC characters. Steel was in the show, and anyone who knows Superman probably is somewhat familiar with Steel, but it was cool to see him in the show. Although they also had like a little hint at the end at Gotham City, and then they just quickly throw that away where it's like, yeah, we're not going there, and it's like, oh man, I kind of want to see Batman.
That's my side tangent too, is just why do they have to have this thing where they're like, oh, we introduced this concept that there's going to be this big change, and then they decide like, oh, we're going to throw this away. And I know you see that a lot with sitcoms, which makes sense because you can't build another set. But when it's a cartoon, you could draw like her in an apartment in Gotham. Even if they don't do much with Gotham, it'd be nice to see Batman and a crossover with that.
Yeah, but I also think one of the things I liked is the season ended where it felt like if it was canceled and they didn't do a season 3, I would not be angry.
Yeah.
I'd want a season 3. I don't think there shouldn't be one, but if it were to be canceled, I wouldn't be like, they left it on a cliffhanger. I'd be like, yeah, I was pretty satisfied with how it ended. Also, Superman gets a new suit, and it looks really cool. I like that suit.
I think the only thing you didn't care for was the
very
ugly
pointy shoulders. I don't know. They had a suit that's like probably the first Superman suit I've seen where it doesn't have the red tights, and it actually looks really good. But then they have like these stupid pointy shoulders that I didn't like. So
I do think it was an upgrade from season 1's, which I already kind of liked the design of that one, and I don't pay attention to the suits as much, and I thought that was a good design.
Yeah. Are those our thoughts? I guess we both recommend it. I'm kind of in the middle. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Same as season 1, and I think I might have liked season 1 a bit more than the season. But that's
I think so. I would probably agree that I do like season 1 more. I'm probably a little bit more optimistic. I would give this one a thumbs up completely, even with its flaws. I still enjoyed it a lot.
It's good to hear. Well, I guess check that out then, and maybe we'll be back with some more, I don't know, vlogs or maybe reviews of TV shows or something if we want to do that. We'll see.
I wouldn't mind getting to join you on another vlog again.
All right. Well, thank you for being here, Coletta.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Yep. We'll see you around. Bye.
Bye.